Today in Global Garden in Roblox, I'm going to give you guys my most recent updated trade guide for pets in this game, considering the trading update is just days away. If this sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Become part of the first 200k OGs on the channel, because you're running out of time to do so. We are growing like crazy. And let's get into the video. So this is my tier list going from D tier all the way up to double S tier. And down here are all the pets we will be talking about in this video. If there are any pets I'm missing in this list and you want me to talk about them, go ahead and comment down below and give them to me right now. And starting off with two pets who used to be really high up in this tier list but have dropped like rocks. The corrupted Kodama has dropped all the way down to the C tier, considering how much more common it has become. However, since you can only get it from the corrupted tree, and sometimes those quests can be difficult to complete, it's a little bit more value than its friend. However, the regular Kodama is literally at the bottom of D tier. If you have been doing the corrupted Kitsune method and farming it like crazy, like many people have, you'll understand why, because you've probably deleted countless, and I mean countless Kodamas in the time you were farming for that corrupted Kitsune. They're among the most common pets in the game now. They have absolutely no trade value. Moving on to the Ankylosaurus, he's still holding up around the middle of B tier. A very solid pet. I believe he was a 3% hatch chance from the dino eggs you can no longer acquire, so he's fairly valuable and fairly useful. But you know what is valuable and useful is the Disco Bee at the tippy top of S tier. The Disco Bee is still worth a little bit more than a regular raccoon because the regular raccoon was duped a ton and there's a lot of them out there, and the Disco Bee is still highly desirable. The Disco mutation is very powerful. Go ahead, trade for Disco Bees. They have a lot of value. Unlike the Axolotl, who is down here in D tier, however, I'll put them at the top of D tier. They're still kind of cute and they have a useful effect, so they're kind of good. Unlike the poor Bear Bee, which is only beaten by a handful of things in terms of being the least valuable thing on this list. I like the Bear Bee. I think it's kind of cool, but there's lots of them. They're very common. Unlike this pet, the Fennec Fox. The Fennec Fox was only available for a short period of time, and it was the rarest pet available in that release, but it has a mediocre effect. But regardless of that, it is up here in the middle of S tier. The Disco Bee and the Raccoon are still more valuable than the Fennec Fox, but the Fennec Fox is right there. It's kind of close. After that, we have the Blood Hedgehog, which is down here in the bottom of B tier. I mean, it is in the B tier because it has an amazing effect, and you do need as many of them as you can get your hands on to do the Blood Hedgehog method, but there are a lot of them. There's plenty available, so it's not that valuable. If you want to know more about the Blood Hedgehog method, go to my channel and look it up. It is insane. And speaking about the other blood units, the Blood Kiwi and the Blood Hedgehog, all three of them together with the Blood Owl, hold up the bottom of B tier. The Blood Kiwi is really useful when it comes to hatching eggs. It's one of the most efficient ways of hatching eggs, period. And the Blood Owl is the best way to age up pets. They both have very useful functions, and those functions are holding up their trade value. Then we have the Dragonfly, an excellent pet with a really good effect, holding up the A tier. The Dragonfly is an iconic pet in this game. It has been around for a very long time, but we can still hatch them out of bug eggs at a 1% chance. And because of that, combined with the fact that Rainbow is just better than Gold, it's a really good pet, but it's definitely not an S tier pet anymore. Then we have the Brontosaurus, a solid pet, a highly desirable pet because it is big. People love long-necked dinosaurs, but it's down here in the C tier. There are enough of these guys going around in circulation right now. Now, the Chicken Zombie is a funny creature. There have been times where it was high up in A, and then there are times on my list where he's down here in B, but as of right now, the making of this video, he's at the bottom of A tier. Excuse me while I go over here and grab these sprays. Don't mind if I do. The Chicken Zombie has been immortalized because of the Minecraft movie. As such, it's very popular. Combine that with the zombified mutation, which is really hard to acquire, it's a very rare, very desirable pet. But you know what is not rare or desirable? The Cooked Owl. Though the regular Kodama is now worth less than even the Cooked Owl. Poor Cooked Owl has been the bottom of my list for so long. Don't worry, Cooked Owl. Maybe one day you will have your day in the sun. The Mimic Octopus is a really good pet. He's up in the A tier, worth almost a Dragonfly. Like, you could exchange the Mimic Octopus and the Dragonfly pretty accurately with each other. Just goes to show you just how popular the Mimic Octopus is. Then we have the Dilophosaurus, and the Dilophosaurus does have a little bit of trade value. I put it up in the C tier. Having multiple of those dinosaurs is really good for leveling pets, so it has some trade value, and you can't hatch them anymore, so they're getting a little bit rare. Then we have the Hedgehog and the Mole. The Hedgehog is just a worse blood hedgehog. It's down here in D tier. The mole has a unique effect, but unless you have a huge one, the effect isn't really that great. It's also down here in D tier, but what's not down in the D tier is the butterfly, firmly up in the S tier, roughly equal to a fennec fox, but not equal to the disco bee or the raccoon. Butterflies are key. You need to have the rainbow mutation if you want the most expensive fruits possible, so the butterfly is very valuable. Mooncats. We love mooncats. They have a useful effect, though that effect may have been nerfed, part of it. The growing portion, I believe, is still operational. The duplicating fruits, I believe, no longer stacks. I don't know if that's a bug or confirmed. It's just a rumor right now. So mooncats are down here in D tier. Very, very useful, but there's lots of them, and they're not that expensive to trade for, just like the moth and the toucan and the night owl. Toucans are useful for certain methods, but we don't need those methods right now because tropical fruits are not in vogue. And the night owl is just a worse version of the blood owl. All of those pets are useful pets for specific situations, but there's lots of them, so they don't have a lot of trade value. But then we have huge pets. And I always have to explain why huge pets are so good and so rare and so expensive. They belong in the SS tier because of the range of values on huge pets. Many huge pets are not worth a ton if they're a common pet type. For example, a huge bunny, a huge golden lab, a huge Shiba Inu, etc. However, other huge pets are worth a ton. What about a huge dragonfly, a huge Spinosaurus, a huge kitsune? You can guess that huge pets can range from worth a dragonfly all the way up to worth like 6 or 7 raccoons, or 8 raccoons, or 10 raccoons, or 12 raccoons. It's crazy. Then we have the ostrich, a useful pet, down here in the bottom of C tier. If you need more information as to why the ostrich is so good, go ahead, get 8 ostriches, and then hatch eggs. Watch what happens. It's amazing. Praying mantis, I say this every time, overrated down here in the D tier. The kappa used to be way up there, but now it's down here in the D tier as well. It's just not as desirable as it once was. And this also goes the same with Mr. Bald Eagle Bird. He's just not that desirable right now. Maybe a day will come where the bald eagle bird will be more desirable. It does have a useful effect, but so many were handed out in the 4th of July, it's just not that valuable. The pterodactyl is actually up here in the C tier a little bit because of its rarity and because of its size, and people like flying pets, so it's not in the D tier right now. Now, holding up the tippy top of the B tier is the queen bee. In fact, the queen bee is almost in the A tier, but it's just below my threshold for when I put the tiers. I don't expect the queen bee to stay in the B tier long. I expect her to move up to the A tier as we get further and further away from the bee event. And maybe if pets are released where resetting their abilities is very useful, I can see the queen bee going up. Next, we have the red fox. The red fox is beloved, even though it's fairly common. It's here in the B tier as well with the queen bee. These next 2 pets are down in the D tier. You have the scarlet macaw, which is a great source of verdant, but you can also get the spray from the mutation guy, so it's not quite as useful. And the seal has a useful effect, but there's lots of them around. And now we get into the more fun part of this list. The raccoon has actually gone up in value. However, it is still right below the disco bee in value, but it is gaining ground. Every time I look at the raccoon, it gets a little more expensive, a little more expensive, a little more valuable because they're not hatching anymore. Raccoons are great, useful pets. Get them if you can. They rock. You can never, ever go wrong with trading for a raccoon. If you have a raccoon, hold on to it. It has a lot of value. The T-Rex is maintaining its value right now here in the A tier right beside the mimic octopus. In fact, these are pretty much interchangeable in terms of value. In fact, all 3 of these are pretty much interchangeable in terms of value. T-Rex is great. T-Rex is very useful. And the further we get from the dino event, the more rare it's going to become and the more valuable it will become. Age 75 pets. These are an interesting one. There was a time where these were all the rage, and then there was a time where these were practically worthless. Now, they're all the rage again because everyone is throwing their pets in the mutation machine. As soon as they hit 50, fewer and fewer are hitting 75. And as we've discussed multiple times, they're super necessary to max out your pet slots, your egg slots, and your pet capacity. Without them, you can't max them out. Age 75 pets have increased value. Also, as an aside note, while I was recording this video, a sugar apple and a giant pine cone both came to the seed shop while I was filming, and I couldn't check because I was filming. Great! I missed out on them. Back on topic, the age 75 pet has gone up in value. In fact, it is worth more than the butterfly right now, but still less than the raccoon, according to the data I have in front of me. And the Spinosaurus is in fact holding building up the top of A tier. It's super close to rejoining the S tier again. The Spinosaurus is worth more than the other units in the A tier, actually by a significant chunk. You could trade the other A tier units amongst themselves, but the Spinosaurus is above them, but still just outside of the S tier. Now, the Raiju used to be an A tier pet because of its rarity, but it's been in the shop a few times, so people have been trading for it and acquiring it, and it's a little bit more common. It's actually down in the middle of B tier now. Now, Ascended pets, I've talked about previously, about the fact that as time goes on, more and more Ascended pets will come into the game. It's happening a little bit quicker than I expected, not gonna lie. The Ascended pet is still an SS tier item. It's still worth multiple raccoons, but instead of being worth like 6 or 7 raccoons, it's now worth like 4 raccoons. More and more Ascended pets are hitting the market. They're still very sought after because of their extremely powerful mutation, being able to make really expensive fruits with them, but they're becoming more common. Having said that, their acquisition rate was slightly nerfed from 0.33% down to 0.3%. It's only a 10% nerf or so, but it's not insignificant. Now we move on to the Kitsune and the Corrupted Kitsune. The Kitsune is now the undisputed top of SS tier, short of huge kitsunes or huge dragonflies or those types of things, you know what I mean? If you have a huge queen bee or an ascendant dragonfly or some crazy combination of an ascendant and a huge and a rare pet, those will be worth more than like a regular kitsune. However, the regular kitsune is the most valuable regular pet in the game. It is no longer disputable. It has barely decreased in value in the past 4 or 5 days. It's maintaining its value. It's still super, super rare to hatch. Kitsunes are the things to chase after, unless you're after, like, I don't know, an ascended queen bee or a huge butterfly. Now, I'm sorry. I'm sorry in advance. I'm sorry twice. Here's why I'm sorry twice. First, I'm sorry because the Corrupted Kitsune is becoming quite common. It is no longer worth like a raccoon. It is no longer an S tier pet. It has plummeted quite hard, like I predicted back in the previous video. You can go and check out the previous video I made 3 days ago. The Corrupted Kitsune is now at the queen bee level of rarity and value. It doesn't steal fruits like the regular kitsune and is becoming quite common. So my first apology is I'm sorry, it's down to a queen bee. Don't get mad at me. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just reporting the data I can see. However, my second apology you can blame me for. Because of my Corrupted Kitsune farming video that was seen more than 700,000 times, people have been able to farm the Corrupted Kitsune like crazy. I have comments where people are like, I've found 10 of them. I have 20 of them. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. So it's been super useful to help people acquire them. But now, because of the hundreds of thousands of people that have seen the methods, lots of people have acquired them. They're worth a queen bee now instead of being worth like a butterfly. So I apologize for that, but that's just the reality of the situation. They're still very useful trade pieces, and don't take it from me. You can go find a random person playing the game on a random server who will trade you whatever you want for the Kitsune because they love it. You can find that. There's millions of people playing. You can find that. But in terms of value, what I can see, it's a queen bee. It's no longer a butterfly. This is my tier list as of the making of this video. This is always subject to change as the days go on. If this video was useful to you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Become part of the first 200K OGs. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.